Hey everyone, it is March 13th, 2019, and welcome to another Brooklyn Baritone podcast. Alright, you are here with me, Corey Ashley, on my podcast, and I usually, of course, come with a lot of different topics about development, about having good grounds and foundations mentally, spiritually, of course. Hopefully everything I talk about helps you in some sort of facet of life. I share a lot of things that I've gone through, wisdom, blah, blah, blah. I'm not by any means saying I'm some sort of international guru. No, I don't have my own multi-million-dollar company, at least not yet. But you can learn something new from everybody, just as I learn every day. And I always look to make sure I put forward so much of what I learned too. It's always good to share. It's a whole communal thing. Now, talking about sharing and development, that's exactly what I'm talking about today in my podcast. It is development. Development is all around us. Development is what we like to do for the people who are strong-minded enough and strong-willed enough to understand there's more to life and to themselves that they should be doing. This world has so much possibilities. This world has so much opportunities waiting for you to grab hold of it, either make your own or take advantage of what's out there already. Now, you could best prepare yourself as much as possible with learning, with having yourself open to a lot of things, but you have to understand, what's inside of you. Now, why does development garner so much attention? When I say this, you could look all around if you're in the right arenas, right circuits and forums where development is the thing to do, the thing to be around. Where you're at a regular job, or you even have a hobby, or you have a career, you're an entrepreneur, you're someone in school. There's always ways and means to develop yourself and always opportunities. And there's times where you feel like you want to do more than what you're doing. Now, there's like hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, perhaps even billions of dollars that are going into an industry, because development is an industry, because people have this innate desire and or need to do more, to make sure that they are actually a better part of the puzzle where they could fit in the bigger picture of things. That's when you start to actually come to terms of who you are and what you're good at, or what you are drawn to, because certain things some people can do, other things cannot, but people cannot do. It makes a resonance. When you start to do something, you start to resonate energy and people start to see things about you, or your focus, or your mind, or something that you desire, or what people will say your passion is. You will start to be drawn or attracted to things just as people can be attracted to you. That is an integral part of what self-development really is. But you have to understand what is inside of you, because you can also spend a lot of time, which a lot of people have that I know of, especially in this country, going to school for something that they thought they wanted to do, or they figured was the most logical career path, but it wasn't really in tune with them. So many people go to college and get degrees, whether they don't finish college or it's an associate degree or a bachelor's or whatever, and they find out this is not the industry that I want to be in. And that is a tricky part, because so much people go through early schooling and don't really know proper self-development. We know the 3 R's, quote unquote: writing, reading, and arithmetic. That's cool for base level understanding and functionality in life, but that'll guarantee that you know how to read and write and do math at a basic level. Now, you don't really learn to deal with yourself on a basic level, and that usually happens sometimes adolescence, a lot of times teens, late teens, early adulthood, just 20s and 30s. When people start to realize, I don't want to do a 9-to-5 job all the time, or I don't think I picked the right industry, or I think I want to move somewhere else and do something else totally different. I know I was an accountant, or I know I was working in a stockroom, but you might have the idea or the feeling that I think I want to be an artist, or I really feel the need that I want to build things, possibly be an engineer. I want to go into business administration because I want to run a business that attracts me. So these are things that are so integral, as I said before, that we have to realize of ourselves, and the earlier, the better. Now, so many people go through life, I would kind of say, wasted college tuition, but every experience, especially if taken properly, you could take that experience and build upon that. At least it's one thing that you know you probably wasted time on, or something that you know you're not attracted to anymore, or to the degree where you thought you would. That's actually not bad, because there are times that sometimes I said this when I was like really, really young. It's sometimes better to know what not to do than knowing what exactly to do. Because there are times where you have to know what you should stay away from because it's not your cup of tea. You're not really strong in whatever suits that is. That's fine. But yeah, a lot of people will probably beg to differ because they've used up a lot of money and a lot of time where they figured if I only had known what I know now, I would just rewind. You know, people will just be going around rewinding time, jumping in DeLoreans or pressing rewind on their magical remote if they could. And then no one ever go forward. So, you know, things are made in this reality a specific way where we have to take full advantage of our time now, because now is setting us up for the propulsion forward, whether we're ready for it or not. So again, when I go back to the development phase of people finding out themselves that what they don't like doing, usually again, that they're just getting into life. They're getting into being more social. They're getting into dabbling in more hobbies or interest, or they start having a certain circle of people around them. Well, development now is like, I would say almost like a gold mine. Not to say that most people go into development, self-help, motivational speaking, everything in that criteria, in that realm. Not everyone is in it for the actual satisfaction of bringing someone to their fulfillment in their life. Some people, they just see it's a way to cash in. They have an industry behind it. They may have get good credibility, credentials, yada, yada, yada. But let me focus not on the people who just want to cash in. That's in any industry. Any person can be opportunistic. Talking about people who actually found out what they're about. And they want other people to find out what they're about. Because this is one thing that I feel where so much people are kind of lost, is because every one of us is created with a seed planted in us. Or I should say every one of us are impregnated, to use that term, with an undescribable type of wealth. It can be converted to actual currency. It can be converted to an asset, if you will. But we have to understand what it is ourselves. It is our responsibility to not just recognize it. And that's probably the first hurdle we have to get over in life. But we also are super responsible for nurturing and germinating that, because we owe ourselves, but most of all, we owe the rest of the world what's in us, because we can easily have a solution to a major problem. You know, it's not going to be a certain ilk of person or people that are magically descended from the clouds, and they're the ones with all the intellect and all the talent to be the movers and shakers, to be CEOs, to be billionaires, to be tycoons. No, it's everyday people that make patents, everyday people that go out and start a business, everyday people that go out there and rile up people in their community, people in their family, people that they go to school with, people that they go to work with, people they just happen to bump into the street. They know themselves, and you're confident in yourself because you know what's in you, and you start to recognize that, and you start to nurture it. You start to put that seed in good soil. You start to put that treasure in the right bank, and you start putting interest on it, as opposed to just burying it. Now, this is like kind of akin to the parable that Yeshua, Jesus, talked about with a master, where he had, 3 servants, or people who helped him out on his land and his property. He gave one like 5 talents of silver, another one 3 talents, another one 1. Gave all of them according to what he knew their abilities were. Now, 2 of them, the one who got the 5 talents of silver, they flipped it. Other one gave it 3, flipped it. The one who gave 1, he was kind of a sluggard. He wasn't really about it like that. He just buried it. So as opposed to flipping it, and the master came back, hey, what did you guys do? Hey, I flipped it. Boom. Got double. This is what's going to be yours. Since you worked hard, because I knew you could do that, and you could handle that, I'm going to give you that. Hold this piece of property. I got you in charge of X, Y, and Z now. So he living well. Same thing for the guy with the 3 talent. Now the guy with the 1 talent, like, listen, I gave you an opportunity. I gave you an opportunity and more than enough time and the resources to do you. Not just for my benefit, but you could have done so much by increasing your worth I gave you. But you held out on yourself, therefore holding out on your value and the piece that you place, that you could be placed in the big picture of this puzzle. So much people, they end up burying their talent because they get just caught up in, I would say, a socioeconomic system and mindset where just go to work and pay bills and hopefully retire and the end. And we all know everyone doesn't get to ride off in the sunset. And so much people don't put emphasis on building themselves and going outside of the regular way of thinking. So this is where people come in, where they realize there's more to life than just working a 9-to-5 and just retiring at a fraction of the money I'm getting. Now I have to kind of struggle on a fixed income, or there's so much more than just going to work and dealing with traffic in the commute, where I think I could be doing more. I feel like I should be giving more to my community. I should be rallying things. I should be working at a food pantry because I like making sure people are fed. I like making sure people are clothed. I want to go and I want to be a motivational speaker. I want to do more, because not just about getting more money, but there's more that you can be doing to build yourself up. And while you're building yourself up, you are building other people up. It goes hand in hand. So I cannot and I do not subscribe to the theology, the mindset of evolutionary thinking, because that pretty much goes to say that we're just doing all this for nothing. If we're all going to be dust, and then hundreds of years, thousands of years, millions of years, none of this is going to matter. Why does it matter now? Okay? There's so much more to life than just living in the now and then your worm food and then the end. That means there's no real hope for a future. There's no real hope for anything past us living in the now. There's a bigger picture. There's always a bigger picture. Now, is it important to develop yourself? Absolutely yes. It is absolutely important to build yourself. Because like I just said, there's so much more to this life than so much thing that we have subscribed our mentality to, that we have been diminished to with just go to work. And everyone has that mindset, especially in this country. Well, let's go to work. I'm getting mine, you get yours. And, if you do it good, then, you get rewarded. That doesn't happen all the time. If you follow that blueprint of just getting up, going to work and doing the regular ho hum, you're going to get ho hum results. You could more than likely feel really frustrated because that seed in you walking around and moving in life, commuting, that seed is as you move it around in life, it's rubbing on the inside of you. It's agitating. It has to come out. It has to come out. That treasure that's in you, it has to come out. It's trying to gain interest and it's trying to multiply itself. It's trying to come out to magnify who you are, multiply what you're about. And then when you realize your worth and your value, it'll be much easier now to understand where you fit into certain things or in life. And then people now will start to value you better because you have added value to yourself. That's how it works. Because if people don't see the value in you, it's because you're not really putting it out there. Now, granted, every person or every group that you're around may not have the cultural mindset or even individual mindset to understand that. That's okay, because everything is temporary. The bad things are temporary. The good things are temporary. It's all about learning and building yourself and going forward as best as you possibly can, the best way you possibly can. Now, how to do it right? You have to be humble and you have to be true to yourself. You have to have humility to understand that there's a bigger picture. You have to have humility to understand that you don't know everything. You have to understand that there's much more to life than you possibly are doing right now. Chances are you could know a whole lot and you could be highly garnered as SME, subject matter expert. You could be admired as someone who went out and started their own business. Whatever the case is, there's always more for you to learn. So you have to always be humble, because when you're humble, you're open. I use the analogy of the open hand, not open hand slap, but an open hand. Where you have an open hand, it means you're willing to take someone else's hand who's willing to help you, or you're willing to help someone else up. You have an open hand, you're willing to receive things or give things. Now, the opposite of humility is pride, pridefulness. I use a closed fist. Closed fist means, it's tense. There's no way you can help anybody with a fist at all. You can't receive anything with a fist. There's no room in there to get anything or give anything, because it's all closed up. So a lot of people walk around with a closed fist mentality, as opposed to an open hand where you can receive much more, you can give much more. Someone has their hand out for help, you can help them. They want to help you. It's easier for you to get help. Now you do it right. You stay humble. You understand there's always going to be times where it's not going to work out all the time. There's always going to be a learning experience, but you always have to understand you learn something new every day. You have to understand you have to be humble enough to not settle, because you could be at a comfort zone. That's very dangerous. You have to understand, okay, it's cool now. Financially, you could be cool, or you feel you're good in your skill sets of what you got. Always understand there's going to be someone else out there that's going to be hungrier. There's going to be someone else out there that's going to be way more opportunistic. Always understand there's going to be opportunities that you have to look out for to raise you up to the next level. Even if it's a lateral move, it's a move where you have to understand, I want more. Not to be greedy, not to be ungrateful for what you have, but you have to understand there is always more that you can do and what you can learn. Don't burn yourself out. Pace yourself. Give yourself deadlines. You have to humble yourself to know, I may not be disciplined enough. Let me tell you something. A lot of disciplined people, they struggle with themselves to stay disciplined. They're probably just so disciplined they have it in them already, the innate ability to be that, or they practice it for so long, they're just that good at it. But I'm going to tell you, they're human too. They didn't come from like Krypton or something like that where they just have it. Some people are kind of, sort of, but there's so much people that are disciplined, where they know this is what I got to do. This is how I got to do it, because if I don't have a deadline, if I don't have a goal, I'm just going to fall off, and that'll just unravel everything. So I always say everything revolves around humility, to understand that you don't have all the answers. You're going to need other people to help get you where you need to get to. And you're also going to have to be in a place where you can help other people as well. All right. And so much of these people who are motivational speakers, self-help counselors, people who are world-renowned for their documentary, for their works, for everything. And what I do, I take as much as I possibly can. I read. For people who don't know me, I do read. At least I try to do 2 books. I do audiobooks. I don't give myself a chance to really sit down and read, but it's actually a great thing to do, to actually read. But I do audiobooks, and I start making my own mental notes, and I jot my own notes down. So a lot of books about leadership that I've gone through, it helped out a lot, but it also highlighted things that I kind of already knew. So I felt I knew, for how I thought, the certain paths that I take professionally, or even what I do media-wise, you have to learn, put yourself out there first, and you also take in what's out there already. Because what you have to do, one thing I've learned, is that you have to put yourself out there. Whatever is in you, you have to take the plunge and just do it. It may cost money, fine. It may cost time, fine. It may cause you to feel a little bit embarrassed. That's okay, because you're never going to get anywhere if you don't plan to pack to go somewhere. You have to plan, I'm going to put aside some money for that ticket. I'm going to go. You could think about Las Vegas all you want. You could think about Alaska all you want. You could think about Hawaii all you want. If you're not putting money aside, if you're not trying to book hotels, if you're not really trying to say, hey, let me go buy that bathing suit that I want to roll with in the beach, then you're not taking the proper steps. You have to put yourself out there. And a lot of times you're going to have to put things out there, and it's going to come back to you. Again, it's about resonance. You develop yourself, you amplify it, you nurture that seed, you put it out there, people will be drawn to you. Don't worry about anyone taking you for granted, or you not getting paid, or you're not getting recognition. Guarantee you stay at it, you will get back what you put out. Even things that you probably forgotten about, it's going to be out there. The energy, everything is energy transfer. What you put out there, you will get back. I guarantee that. You just have to stay consistent and constant, and you have to be confident in yourself. A lot of things that I've developed were based on books. I'm going to run down a few books that I've gone through. Well, audio books. I just got this recently from Nadira Brown. I work with her briefly, and her and her husband, Reggie, they're actually doing great things in the skating community, and they just were part of a big documentary, the United Skates documentary. Now, this first book is, I'm just starting to read that now. It's Power Moves, Lessons from Davos. I just finished also The Culture Code, The Secrets of Highly Successful Groups. I also just finished TED Talks, the official TED Guide to Public Speaking. I finished The Hard Thing About Hard Things. I just also, not too long ago, last year, finished Find Your Why, a practical guide for discovering purpose for you and your team. The Coaching Habits, Say Less and Ask More. There's so much that I've gone through, and I'm actually scrolling through my Audible list right now, and I've gone through a lot. I know it's one guy, a lot of people knows him, Grant Cardone, Sell or Be Sold, How to Get Your Way in Business and in Life. That's just a few of the things. And also Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion. Those are just a number of books that talks about cohesive team building, finding the right people for your team, understanding where do you fit into it, understanding how to develop yourself, and also understanding how to develop other people. Because it does tie back into leadership, and leadership is something that we all have the potential to do. And leadership is not the leadership what we think of, where we think of the king and he's sitting on a golden throne on top of a whole pile of money, and then we have the peasants under him. No, leadership is dominion, not domination. That That blueprint of what I told you about the king on the throne, that's domination. We want dominion. Dominion now is that you are responsible for all you survey. That means the land you're on, the resources that you utilize or around, the people that you are around. You're responsible for making sure that they are good. Leadership is a position of servitude. When you have a position of servitude, that means you're making sure everyone has what they need to be good. Their minds are good. The morale is good. You have the resources they need. They have the know-how of what they need to get done to get it done. You just got to make sure everyone is good to the best of your ability. But you can't make sure everyone else is good if you're not good. Because if you're not good, then you're not going to be up to task. That's when it goes back down to that self-development. You have to understand what that seed is inside of you. You have to nurture it. Once you start to recognize that, you will build your confidence. You will build credibility because people will see that you are an SME, subject matter expert, or you are strong or talented or gifted, whatever phrase you want to use in whatever it is that you do. Photography, speaking, organizing, whatever it is. You practice it and people will resonate. People will see that and you will probably start to attract attention from it. Okay, so you poison yourself. You're taking that treasure that's in you, you put it in the bank and you build an interest. You're taking that seed, you put it in the right soil, sunlight, water it, it's going to bloom. You have to be consistent with it. Now, one thing real quick, because I know this is right about the time where I need to be wrapping it up. But going back to myself, my own personal experience, so much people, even recently, someone said, you should be doing radio. Well, I thought about it a lot, but rewind all the way back when I was younger, I knew I had a nice voice because, a lot of girls told me I had a nice voice. And unfortunately, I never really nurtured myself or had the nurturing for that. It was about, go to school. Of course, you want to make sure you have the fundamentals down for this culture to get a good job and, be a productive part of society, but you need to be doing more than just getting up and go to work. So what I was doing with that kind of mindset is I'll just get a job whenever. That voice that I could have and should have been training, that I should have been developing, I was using that for getting girls. And that was about it. Unfortunately, that's like a lot of time wasted, a lot of my own personal, spiritual, mental time wasted chasing after girls when I should have been chasing after myself. Now I'm doing it now. And I have my website, Brooklyn Baritone. I'm doing my podcasts. I have a lot of different things that I'm doing, but the avenue that I'm going to is communicating, is talking, not just as you can hear verbally, but also through my videography, through my work with my drone, aerial photography and videography, through my editing. Now, I try my best to communicate quality media because there's a lot of media out there. There's a lot of people who have a lot of hits, who's making a good living off of it, but I don't want to follow that grain. That's not what I want. I want to develop people while I'm developing myself at the same time. So this is not just for me to hear myself talking, but granted that my relationships, my marriage, with our children, with my coworkers, with my close friends, with people in the community around me, I understand that I may have a certain approach, or people have a certain approach to me because of what I exude. And I want to continue that. So I don't need anything to really taint the intent of quality media, which is the backbone of the quality media is basically having quality standards myself, that I know not just for myself, not personal opinion, but it's what I know everyone can benefit from. So if I can do that with what I know I'm good at or what I aspire to be better at, I'm trying my best to just not just make myself a big or a focal point, but what I'm trying to do is make other people understand that there's a bigger picture, but you are a piece of that puzzle that is the picture. You have to know who you are and know where you fit in and know how you can improve the picture. Know that there are problems out there that are waiting for you to solve. Yes, if you have a 9-to-5, nothing wrong with that at all. Because possibly where you may need to be is at that job, in that career field, around those people that you're working with. You have no idea how they may need you or you may need them. But it's also a means to an end as well. Utilize the opportunities to make yourself valuable. Because unfortunately, how this world is, if you don't have value in yourself, no one else would find value in you. And that's a terrible way to live. I do not wish that on anyone. That's why I look to always improve myself, my $2 a month, with putting out my content, with learning things as much as I possibly can through the book, through Yeshua, through our Creator, through other people's content. I look at so many things on YouTube and I read so much of the books, like I said before, and I listen to other people's either critique of what I do or also their input. Because remember, it's about humility. You're not going to know everything. You have to develop yourself. You have to be an open hand, willing to receive help and give help out. Well, anyways, I'm going to wrap that up. I think I rambled on too long. We're right at the 30-minute mark. Thank you for listening. Please look out for my podcast or check out my website, brooklynbaritone.com, for much more quality media. I'll be looking forward to hearing your comments and seeing your participation in the future. I'm out, everyone. Be blessed.